Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into what is, quite frankly, one of the most fascinating and consequential proxy wars happening right now for the future of artificial intelligence. We're going to look really closely at this massive legal showdown between Elon Musk and OpenAI. And, as you'll see pretty quickly, this is about way more than just a broken contract. It's really a battle over who gets to dictate the entire future of human technology.
To really wrap your head around the sheer scale of what we're dealing with here, let's look at how the folks in our source material are framing it. They're basically calling it a battle between Godzilla and King Kong. It's honestly the perfect analogy for the personal rivalry and just the incredibly complex power struggle between these two tech titans, Elon Musk and OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. You've got two absolutely massive figures in the tech space colliding right now. And, when giants like this fight, the ground shakes for the rest of us.
Actually, right outside the federal court where all this is playing out, somebody spotted a protester holding up this brilliantly blunt banner that simply read, "Everyone sucks here. Musk equals Altman." And honestly, it perfectly validates this very natural skepticism that's out there in the public right now. People are looking at this and just seeing a pretty homogeneous group of tech billionaires fighting over extremely powerful technologies, guiding how society evolves and wielding immense power, while the rest of us are kind of just stuck watching from the sidelines.
Okay, let's dive into this. To trace exactly how we ended up in this courtroom drama, we have to rewind about 10 years. OpenAI was founded with a super specific mission. It was a nonprofit meant to ensure that if artificial general intelligence was ever actually developed, it would be done purely for the benefit of humanity. But Musk is arguing that the company has completely abandoned those founding principles. Now, on the flip side, OpenAI totally rejects this. They claim a shift toward a for-profit structure was actually agreed upon way back in 2017, and get this, they say Musk himself even pushed for control of the company at that time, something the board refused. Fast forward to today, and this whole messy dispute has landed them squarely in a federal court in California.
Now, if you look right at the surface level of this lawsuit, Musk is essentially claiming that he was misled. He argues that he was swindled out of something in the neighborhood of $38 million in donations. Why? Because he gave that money under the pretense of that original nonprofit mission we just talked about. So when that mission shifted, he felt those donations were taken under false pretenses.
But wait, he isn't just asking for a simple refund. Oh no, his actual legal demands go much further. He's going after billions? Yes, billions of dollars in what he calls wrongful gains. He wants a major corporate restructuring of OpenAI, and, perhaps most drastically, he's asking for the potential removal of CEO Sam Altman. So here's the crazy part. A 9-person jury in California is going to have to sit there, potentially for up to a month, and decide who is more credible, Musk or Altman. And if Musk actually wins, removing Altman wouldn't just be a minor shakeup in leadership. Our sources make it very clear that Altman is intrinsic to the very identity of OpenAI. Removing him would be absolutely seismic for the company.
Section 1. The trillion-dollar Matryoshka doll.
So, if you crack open this legal dispute like a giant Russian nesting doll, inside you find these totally staggering corporate stakes. Just contrast Musk's lost $38 million with $1 trillion. That is what OpenAI is reportedly hoping to value itself at when it plans to float publicly later this year. The outcome of this trial and any potential restructuring of the company could drastically impact those massive valuation and IPO plans, sending absolute shockwaves throughout the entire AI industry.
And honestly, that brings us to the reality of the AI business right now. It's a space defined by astronomically high development costs, arguably inflated valuations, and incredibly long waits for any real return on investment. I mean, these large language models cost an absolute fortune to run, which means actual profit isn't likely to materialize for a very long time. Yet, despite all of that, investors are eagerly taking on this massive risk. Why? Well, because of the sheer potential. They're willing to wait it out in the hopes that OpenAI, or maybe one of its competitors, becomes the next Apple or the next Google.
Section 2. The existential stakes and the race to AGI.
Once we look past those immediate business valuations, we hit the existential race to artificial general intelligence, or AGI. But viewing this through the lens of a skeptical industry analyst reveals a really massive divide. On one side, you have the tech executives selling the idea that AGI is literally just around the corner. They promise they just need another $5 billion to invest, and boom, they'll achieve it. But on the other side, analysts are arguing that current large language models might just be a technological cul-de-sac, basically a dead end on the path to creating a machine that is truly smarter than we are.
Section 3. Global dominance and the regulatory void. So while these billionaires are busy fighting it out in court, governments worldwide are kind of just leaving a massive regulatory void. And why is that happening? Well, Western tech companies are making a very specific argument to regulators right now. They're framing the evolution of AI entirely as a matter of global dominance. They're basically asking, hey, do you want this incredibly powerful technology to be dominant in the West, primarily the United States, or do you want the Chinese state to have absolute control over it? Their whole argument is that imposing strong regulations is only going to restrict AI development in the West, regulations that obviously Chinese companies simply won't be bound by. They warn that heavy-handed oversight could allow the Chinese state to catch a lead and achieve global dominance totally unhindered. And right now, it looks like a lot of regulators are actually in agreement with this hands-off approach.
But here's the thing. This regulatory void has real-world consequences for all of us. Because if AGI actually is achieved, we theoretically cross over into a total sci-fi reality, which forces us to ask some very direct societal questions. Like, what happens to employment? What are people actually going to do all day? And fundamentally, is this heavily automated society something that we even want? These are massive, absolutely crucial philosophical questions that society and governments really need to start answering.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought for today. In the absence of extremely strong regulation from governments, are tech companies simply using the courts to slug it out and essentially regulate themselves? If the winner of a courtroom battle between Godzilla and King Kong gets to determine the trajectory of literally the most powerful technology in human history, we have to stop and ask ourselves, who do we actually want controlling the arrival of AGI? It's a question that goes so far beyond Elon Musk and Sam Altman, and it's definitely one that will define our future. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the world around you.